This is Japan, one of the most powerful countries in the early 20th century. And this is Korea, a nation with a proud culture, now remembered worldwide for its music, technology, and cosmetics. But for over 3 decades, these two neighbors shared a painful past. From 1910 to 1945, Korea was under Japanese colonial rule. The story begins in the late 19th century. Following years of political pressure and military intimidation, Japan gradually tightened its grip on Korea. In 1905, after victory in the Russo-Japanese War, Japan forced Korea to sign the Protectorate Treaty. Emperor Gojong resisted, secretly sending envoys to the Hague Peace Conference. His pleas went unanswered. By 1907, under Japanese pressure, he was forced to abdicate. In 1910, the Japan-Korea Annexation Treaty was proclaimed. Signed under coercion and without the proper consent of Korea's emperor, the treaty declared Korea a colony of Japan. The Government General of Korea, based in Seoul, held near absolute authority. From the start, Japanese rule sought to transform Korea. The colonial government built railways, roads, and communication lines, but these developments primarily served Japanese interests. But this development came at a cost. These projects were not designed to benefit ordinary Koreans, they were meant to help Japan. Railways carried raw materials like rice and minerals out of Korea and into Japan. Banks were merged under Japanese control, and Korea's currency was abolished. Everyday life grew harder for many families. While some Koreans did find work in new industries, most of the profits and resources went to Japan. Even the Korean royal family was stripped of its dignity. Palaces were destroyed or turned into government offices. The symbols of Korean independence were disappearing. Korea's traditional hierarchy was dismantled, royal palaces destroyed or repurposed, and the Korean currency abolished. Beyond economics, Japan wanted to erase Korea's identity. The goal was not only to rule the land, but to turn Koreans into loyal Japanese subjects. Over time, Koreans were even pressured to change their names to Japanese ones. What had once been a proud family identity was being erased by law. Cultural suppression intensified. The Korean language was gradually removed from schools, newspapers in Korean were banned, and citizens were pressured to adopt Japanese names. Worship at Shinto shrines was made compulsory. Cultural treasures were also taken. Palaces were looted, artifacts shipped to Japan. According to later studies, tens of thousands of Korean cultural assets disappeared during this time. For ordinary Koreans, the message was clear: their traditions, their language, and even their identity were being erased. In January 1919, Emperor Gojong, who had resisted Japan's takeover years earlier, suddenly died. Many Koreans believed he was poisoned. His death sparked anger, frustration, and hope for change. Resistance soon followed. When Emperor Gojong died in January 1919, amid rumors of poisoning, anger exploded. On March 1, Koreans staged nationwide demonstrations demanding independence. Nearly 2 million people participated. The movement spread quickly. Nearly 2 million people joined more than 1,500 protests across the country. It was one of the largest independence demonstrations in the world at that time. With the outbreak of the Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937, Japan intensified efforts to erase Korean identity. Speaking Korean became illegal in schools, cultural artifacts were seized, and countless traditions suppressed. The March 1 movement did not succeed in ending Japanese rule, but it gave birth to a new organization, the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea. The Japanese crackdown was brutal: more than 7,000 killed, 15,000 wounded, and over 50,000 arrested. Known as the March 1 movement, it inspired the creation of the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea in Shanghai. From exile, leaders organized diplomatic efforts and armed resistance, including the Korean Liberation Army. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, uprisings continued. Student protests, guerrilla attacks, and independence fighters carried on the struggle. But repression grew harsher. With the outbreak of the Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937, Japan intensified efforts to erase Korean identity. Speaking Korean became illegal in schools, cultural artifacts were seized, and countless traditions suppressed. During World War II, Korea was mobilized for Japan's war machine. Hundreds of thousands of Korean men were conscripted as laborers or soldiers. They lived in brutal conditions, with no freedom and constant abuse. To this day, the memory of their suffering remains one of the most tragic and controversial legacies of the occupation. By the late 1930s, with World War II beginning, Japan tried to completely erase Korean identity. Speaking Korean in schools became illegal. Newspapers in Korean were banned. Many cultural treasures were taken to Japan. On August 15, 1945, Japan surrendered. Korea was liberated, but divided. Soviet forces occupied the north, and American troops the south, setting the stage for decades of division and conflict. The legacy of Japanese rule remains disputed. Japan argues the annexation treaties were legally concluded, while Korea insists they were forced and invalid from the beginning. Survivors of wartime abuses continue to demand recognition and justice. The scars of colonial rule, cultural loss, exploitation, and trauma remain etched into the history of both nations. Yet, the Korean people's resistance, resilience, and determination to preserve their identity became the foundation for the modern Republic of Korea.